Anyway, whilst Oliver is trying to sort himself out, let me just give you a quick update as to where we are with Spark at the moment. We've had a very successful year despite all of the COVID restrictions, and many of you will have seen many of the campaigns that we've had running over the last number of months. We've just closed out 3 of them. One was Moby, one was HorsePay, and the other one was Digitally. So they're in the process of getting the legal documentation done. We're hoping to get those all kind of finalised by the end of today, actually, 31st of December, so everyone can get their EIS rebate as well from the from the Revenue Commissioners next year. So that's been a very busy period for us. We've got a very nice company going to go live with us in the coming days. That's a medtech company called Cure. So we're very happy to have them on board with us as well. That's going to be a very nice one. They've had massive support by other companies, by other investment companies and VCs so far, and so hopefully they'll be, and any investor through Spark is going to be getting those same deals as well, same valuation. So that's going to be a very nice one for us to have live as well in the coming few days. So please look out for an email that will be coming through to you very shortly from that. So today we've got Oliver Kirwan, and he's CEO of HotFoot. He's based down in Kerry, and has developed just over during COVID and prior to that a very nice app that will track people's fitness levels and distances and so on, and Oliver's going to be describing that to you in a few moments. He's done very well. We've got over 50% of his funding so far. The campaign's open for a number of days still yet, and hopefully you'll be tempted to have a closer look at the campaign itself and maybe invest as well. It's a very neat mechanism, very neat app that he's built up. And here he is now. Hopefully, he'll explain it a little bit more. Here he is. Oliver, can you hear us now?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, you've got a bit of feedback there, but hopefully you can get that resolved. But I'll just giving the guys an update as to where you are and what you're doing. You've been live on the site for a couple of weeks now, well over 50% funded, and hopefully more to come as well. So anyway, so have you got your slide decks there, Oliver? Can you share them with us? Or
I will indeed. I'll share them now with you straight away.
Excellent. Okay. Well, in which case, I'll basically hand you over, and you can do your pitch, and we'll come back to a bit of a Q&A afterwards. Just before I do that, as usual, guys, there's a Q&A function on the webinar. So if you've got any questions, please do tap them in there, and we can put those to Oliver afterwards. And hopefully we'll answer those questions in time. So Oliver, I'll hand it over to you, and away you go.
Super, thanks, Chris. We had a few technical issues this morning. My laptop just crashed at 5 to 1, so my apologies on that. So good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us here today. And thanks to Chris and everybody in Spark Crowdfunding for hosting this webinar. So it's New Year's Eve, a bit different to normal New Year's Eves for most people, and I really appreciate your time today. So I'll keep this presentation short, and I'll tell you all about the story about HotFoot. So my name is Oliver Kirwan, and I'd like to introduce you to an exciting investment opportunity, which is HotFoot. So what we are developing is an exciting new sports tracker app called HotFoot. So not all of you here today are runners and cyclists, but those of you that are will understand that the reliance that fitness enthusiasts have on technology. So every step, every heartbeat, every activity is now recorded and analysed within an inch of its life, really. And this has given rise to the worldwide phenomenon, which is the sports tracker industry. And through wearable devices and smartphones, now sports and fitness tracking is accessible to everybody. So there are currently 650 million people in the world who use sports tracker apps on their smartphones, and this is growing 25% annually. So by 2023, there'll be 1.3 billion users of tracking apps on their smartphones and their Spark computers. But we're not the only people out there who are on this phenomenon, which is the sports tracking industry. And there are some of the main players in the industry include Strava, which is probably the market leader, and it has over 85 million users. And there's Map My Run, who has 165 million users. Zwift, which is a stationary bike platform, and that's got 2 million users. And Komoot, which is a relatively new platform, set up in the last couple of years, and it focuses mainly on off-road biking and hiking, and that's got 8 million users. And there's Peloton, which is another sports tech product, and that's got 2 million users. Slightly different to ours, but still the same. It's in the sports tech field. So what is HotFoot, and how is it different to some of the other platforms that are out there that I've just identified? And so what is our USP? What's our unique selling point? So HotFoot does 3 things differently than the rest of the apps that are out there. So the HotFoot has thousands of running and cycling routes all around the world created by the users and micro-influencers. So this allows us to shape our app around a community of active users. So other apps are driven by data and record every aspect of your training activity, where HotFoot is different. It's community and experience based. The second thing it does differently is it guides you around these routes that we created with our community using audio cues, GPS positional mapping, and live notifications to your smartwatch. Okay, and that is something that we're proud of and confident of, the fact that we are one of the only people that are actually doing that and combining it with existing routes. And the third thing it does differently, which is something that we're patenting now at the moment, which is the function that we have on the app, which is called the ghost function. So this means if you run a route set out on HotFoot, you can select who you want to ghost. So if your friend ran the exact same route as you last week, you can get audio notifications as you're doing the same route, as where you are in comparison to them. So your friend is currently 200 meters ahead of you. It's telling you to hurry up and make sure you catch up with them, or you're in the lead, make sure they don't slow down. So this can also be done on your fastest time, your average time, your PB, other people's time in different categories as well. So it's as I said, it is the one thing that we are developing, and we're patenting that at the moment. So how does it work? So instead of me going through the technical bits and pieces and the details of it, I'll just give you an example. So a user is in New York and she wants to do a 10K run tomorrow, but she doesn't want to just go outside her door, turn right and do laps around the block till she gets her 10K run done. Okay, so she wants a route that she knows is safe, she knows that's interesting, and it's been created by another runner from New York who knows the best places to run in New York. So she goes onto the HotFoot app and she searches for a run, and she finds one close to her or one that suits her. Then there's a take me to the start button, which will bring her to actually the start line of where the 10K starts, and the app will guide her to that. And then when she gets to the start line, she'll be notified by audio cues or notifications on her smartwatch as she's guided all the way through the route. She'll then complete the route using audio cues or by following the map, a GPS map on her phone or her watch. And she can also decide who she wants to ghost. So she might say, oh, I want to ghost the fastest female runner on this route and see if I can catch up with her. And all during a run, she'll be given those audio cues and notifications to tell her how is she progressing as compared to the ghost that she's following. So the person doing that route, they are confident doing the run and have a better experience than just running and watching her existing tracker that she has that will just track her total distance and her speed. She's getting an experience as she's running and as she's taking part in it. They can then see their time, the exact time on the same route as everybody else on a live leaderboard, and she can interact with the person who created the route and tell them what she thought of the route then. So that's us building the community. So after she does the route, she interacts, she chats to the person that created the route, and Miriam or the person might like the route that the person created. So the next time she goes for a run, she'll go on the same route that that person created before. So another route that they've created. And this then creates the community, and then it keeps growing. So then that person might go, right, I'm going to create my own route and try to get people to do that route with me. And that's how we keep our community, and that's how we make it different to the rest of the apps that are out there. And this can be done for cycling routes, it can be done for running routes, multi-sport routes like adventure races or duathlons. And it's not a virtual run. There's lots of virtual runs happening out there at the moment where you can run any route. And this is what makes it different again, is that it's a shared experience on the same run, that they're doing the exact same course as the person that set it out within the community. So the problem in the market and what we're trying to do to fix it, okay, so just give you a bit of background to us and ourselves, is that we run Ireland's leading sports event management company, and we have our finger on the pulse as to what the problems are in the sports tracker industry ourselves. So the problems we found in the market is that during the pandemic, you know, in the pandemic, mass participation sports gatherings have forced the industry to think differently about how it's engaging with its users. The existing tracker apps that we analyze have no soul or no culture, you know, and no real community. They're all data driven and training focused and not experience focused. So giving people an experience is what we do, and that's what we've done for the last 10 years to our existing business at Elite Event Management. And the other problem we found out there is that people by their nature want to have something to show for their efforts and be compared on a like-for-like basis on running and cycling routes that they love doing. So the solution then is HotFoot in the HotFoot app. So basically, it's the engaged community of users will drive the platform. And yes, there's lots of other trackers out there, but HotFoot is all about creating a brand, engaging a tech-savvy audience, and capitalizing on this gap in the market that we've found. So I've outlined, hopefully, explained to you in a bit of detail what the HotFoot app is, you know, and how it's a real solution to the problems that we see in the market. The next question is how do we actually make money on it? Okay, what's the business model behind it? Okay, so it's straightforward enough, and it's a proven model that's out there. Is that we've two main revenue streams coming in from HotFoot. One is the monthly paid subscriptions. So users pay a monthly fee to access all the routes and all the features that are on the app. The other revenue stream is through one-off users. So people pay a one-off fee, to do a particular route. After they use the app on a one-off basis, they will have a positive experience, and we're hoping then we'll be able to use our marketing and access to them in the funnel, that we'll be able to turn them into a monthly paid subscription after they have a positive experience on it. Another advantage to ourselves as well is that with HotFoot is as soon as the app goes live in April 2021, we will generate revenue straight away, because people will be using the platform straight away, and the revenue generation model that we outlined there will actually kick in. So I showed you our financial summary then, and our projected growth over the next 3 years. So in 3 years, we hope to have 150,000 users and subscribers with revenues of close to 5.8 million users. Now, I know that the old saying that, you know, paper doesn't refuse ink, you know, in terms of putting down projections on paper. But really, compared to the growth of some of the other sports trackers apps that we've analyzed, you know, our projections are quite modest, but what they are is realistic. And they're realistic for us as a business, that we have to be sustainable, and we didn't want to we'll have millions of users compared to the other apps that are out there, but it's modest, but we think more importantly, it's realistic. So how are we going to meet those targets that we set out? So we have the targets set out, and you might be asking yourself, how are the lads going to actually reach those targets? So I'll just give you a bit of a background on us, on our company. So 10 years ago, in the middle of the last recession, we built a company called Elite Event Management into Ireland's leading sports participation company. Okay, so from 300 people taking part in our first event, we now have over 30,000 people taking part in our events all across Ireland and the UK. So we organise events like the Ring of Bearers Cycle, the Quest Adventure Series, which is all over Ireland and the UK, and the Wicklow 200 Cycle, and also Run Killarney. So we had 14 events planned for 2020, and in January we had 9 full-time employees, and we were all set for a good sellout year, and everything was going really well. But as we all know, and we're stuck in the middle of it now, COVID-19 pandemic hit, and the events industry was probably one of the hardest hit industries that are out there, and we had to literally go back to the drawing board and rethink our business model. But what we have is an innovative team. All right, we have a team you know, that know the industry inside out, and we came up with the innovative idea, which is HotFoot. So Keane, you can see our team there. Keane, Miriam, and Annette and I have been working closely, more or less, for the last 10 years. So we're not like a traditional startup in terms of, we're working from the bedroom or the garage. We have a fully functioning team that work well together in terms of the resources here, in terms of our office and everything that's set up already. So we had an innovative team, as we said, and we've always been at the driving force of everything in our industry, in the sports industry. It's been no different during the pandemic. So because all our events were cancelled, our lads are innovative, they wanted to do stuff. So what we did over the pandemic period, and it's going to extend on longer again, is that we did stuff like, we gave out 20,000 cups of coffee to frontline workers in connection with local coffee shops, in April and March and April, when the pandemic hit first. Only a couple of weeks ago, we were on the Late Late Show, and we're chosen from thousands of other small businesses out there to go on Ryan Tubridy's the toy show for adults, is what it was called, which was small businesses showcasing their products. And we had a product that we used, that we developed over the last couple of months, which is called the Box of Smiles, which is a gift box. I know something totally different than what we're talking about now. But we're chosen above thousands of people, and we won a prize from Vodafone, and we won a €15,000 prize from Vodafone. As I said, on the night was great. It was a great bit of excitement for us. But Vodafone have actually come on board with us now, and they've taken us under their wing. They were down a couple of days before Christmas, and they did 2 or 3 days filming with us, and they're doing different promotions with us now in February and March, and they're all focusing on the HotFoot and how we've changed and adapted and pivoted during it and using technology. So Vodafone have come on board with us now as well, which is great. But basically, we're an innovative, forward-thinking group of people, and we use this to create HotFoot. And what we're doing is essentially, shall we say, pivoting from a bricks and mortar events company into a tech company. So it's exciting. We're looking forward to it, and it is challenging, but we're up for it. So with the team that I have, how are we going to access all these people? How are we going to get these subscribers? How are we going to get everybody using the HotFoot app? So we're in a great position. I suppose that we have an existing database of runners and cyclists who have completed our events over the last 10 years, who have had positive experiences with us. So basically, I would say if we put on an egg and spoon race tomorrow, we'd have our loyal customers that take part in it, and they jump at the chance. So we're going to use our 80,000 strong email database and our 100,000 people we have on social media across all the different running and cycling events that we have. And we're going to do that to launch the product initially in Ireland and the UK. And Net, then, our head of marketing, is at the forefront of digital marketing strategies. And we have an access to a ready-made market at relatively low cost, so to speak. So then the exit strategy. So if you invest in HotFoot, how are you getting your money back, basically? How are you going to get a return on investment for it? So there is a tradition and a history of acquisitions in this sector. Under Armour, a couple of years ago, Under Armour acquired a similar app called MyFitnessPal and MapMyRun for $475 million. ASICS acquired the tracking app RunKeeper for $83 million, and Adidas acquired the tracking app Runtastic for $240 million. So we are hoping to go on the same path and the same trail as what has been done in the market and in the existing market. So businesses in this industry typically trade off multiples of 7 times their earnings. We expect to have earnings of 5.5 million after 3 years, and this would imply a forward valuation of 40 million after 3 years. And this compares favorably to our current valuation of 500,000 euros. So why invest? Why invest in HotShot via the Spark crowdfunding platform? So as I said, it's a new standalone business with an outstanding ready-made database of qualified end users, all accessible by free by email and through our social media channels. The company will be generating revenue from day one. Okay, as soon as you open the doors and open the app, revenue will be coming in. It's an attractive revenue model with a reoccurring income stream. That's proven within the market and people are used to doing it. But essentially, we have a highly experienced marketing team also that we've worked well together for the last 10 years, and we're innovative. It's a high growth industry, as I outlined to you, how fast it's actually growing. And we have a modest pre-money valuation of £500,000. And essentially as well, it's EIS qualified, so investors receive a 40% tax refund on their investment. So a €10,000 investment will get you €4,000 tax refund if you invest. So just in summary then, just to finish it up, this is a great opportunity to get in on the ground floor of an early stage tech startup company. So we have some good news over the last couple of weeks just before Christmas. The RDI hub in Kerry, which is a research development innovation hub in Kerry, created by Fexico, saw the potential in HotFoot, and starting in January, we've been accepted onto their accelerator program, which gives us access to their world-class technology facility just up the road from us here. We're based in Kerry. They're just up the road in Killarglen, basically a ready-made innovation hub in Killarglen, just outside Killarglen, there, created by Fexico. And this gives us access to mentors, advice, further investment to fast-track the development of this new technology company, which they have seen as having potential. So, as I said, if you could invest in HotFoot, we'd really appreciate it, and you'd be part of Ireland's latest tech startup success story. And as I said, thanks for your time on this New Year's Eve. And if you have any questions, you can pop them into Chris and the Q&A section. Thanks a million, lads. Cheers.
Great, thanks very much, Oliver. Very good presentation. Thanks very much indeed. If you want to close down your PowerPoint, and we'll hopefully get a few more questions through. So, as Oliver said there, if you want to ask a question, please pop it into the Q&A box, and we can put those to Oliver. But I have a couple here already. Oliver, Runkeeper, when that was bought, do you know how many users were actually being were with Runkeeper at the time?
At that time, let me just check back on presentation there, just to give you the exact figures on that. Now, just bear with me. I think they had over Map My Run. No, I don't actually have the figures there now, but a similar app, Map My Run, has 165 million users. I would estimate, I can get the figures for you, but I estimate there are up to 50 million users in that app.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, thanks very much. And whereabouts are you on the development process now? When's it going to go live? What's the target time?
We're hoping to start testing internally and with some of our influencers in the end of February, start of March. We're using a company, an Irish company, to develop the app for us. Specialist Irish company called Spark HQ. No relation to Spark crowdfunding, but Spark HQ, they're great. They've developed, say, the AIB app. Are you familiar with that? So we're using, the best opportunity for us to make this app work is that we get the best app possible. And people are very fickle with apps now, that they have to have it the same. They expect the same experience as they would on Instagram or on Strava. So kind of invested in developing the app to the highest level we can.
Very good, very good. What is the status of the patent application? Whereabouts are you on that?
We are working with our app developers to define it, and then we're going to submit it to our solicitors, who are we've a group of solicitors who do our trademarking and our patenting, so we'll submit it to them then. So we're just trying to nail the exact specification of it for the ghost feature.
Very good, very good. Does the app need to be GDPR compliant? What's the situation with the people's data on there? How's that going to be secured and so on?
Yes, the straight answer to that is yes, it has to be GDPR compliant. And we're working with our app developers at the moment. They've developed apps for banking, for AIB, so the security and data protection on it is huge for us. So yeah, we're working heavily on that.
And a follow-on question from that as well is that if you've got a database of your people who've run with you and people who've done an event in the elite company, how does that transfer over to HotFoot, and can you use those people to target the app to those?
We have a bridging agreement between Elite Events and Elite Sports Tech, that there'll be shared data across it. But before we do that, we'll do a cleansing email, so to speak, and make sure that everybody we have is consented to receive information on HotFoot from our email database. But there is a genuine and an appetite for it already from the initial market research we've done on it. But also our social media reach that we have is really accessible in terms of promoting it out there, in terms of the audiences that we have.
Very good, very good. Another question there. What role do influencers play in gaining the market share?
We've had experience with influencers over the last 5 or 6 years, really, since they became really prevalent. We've found a lot of the time that using micro influencers, as I call them, rather than celebrity influencers, has greater. I'd rather have 100 micro influencers who are respected in their industry with 10,000 followers, rather than have Kim Kardashian doing our app, because it just we found we've used say Irish celebrities before for our events, and hasn't had really much of an impact. But when we use people who are greatly respected, mightn't be household names, and mightn't have millions of followers on Instagram, but we have to start from the foundations of this and get it well respected within the athlete community. And having micro influencers, we find, is a better strategy than having Kim Kardashian using our app.
Very good, absolutely. Going back to the patent, how reliant on success of the patent registration are the growth projections?
Like the patent is something we're putting into, as I said, to get the foundations of our technology correct. But the success of the app itself will be built more so on the community that we build, and us building up the community. So once we have a community of users who are committed to it, that's nearly more valuable than the patent itself.
Very good, very good. Okay, well, listen, thanks very much for that, Oliver. We've come to our kind of natural end after 30 minutes. So, and there are a couple more questions here as well, but rather than kind of go over, we can answer those offline, and we can send them out to everybody so everyone can see what those are. But thanks very much indeed. So as Oliver said, Oliver's live on the site at the moment. 59%, I think it is, Oliver, that you've secured so far, which is an amazing success in itself. But we need to get it up to the 100%, and hopefully there'll be a number of people online today who might actually have another look at it and potentially invest as well, and that'd be great if it is. So thanks very much indeed. The campaign's live for a number. I didn't actually look to how many days it is left to be on there.
It's next week, yeah.
Next week. So not a huge amount of time. So if anybody wants to have a one-on-one chat with Oliver, I'm sure Oliver will be very happy to do so, and to explain in a little bit more detail. And of course, if there's any more questions, you can always post them onto the discussion board on the actual campaign itself. So that'll be great as well. So I think we'll wrap it up there. Oliver, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for all the investors for your time as well in participating today. And I hope you found it useful. And as I say, if you've got any questions, please let us know. We'd be delighted to help out. So thanks very much indeed, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
Bye-bye.